Here is 25 things that you can do instead of scrolling. And these things have worked for me because I haven't doom scrolled for over a year and a half. Because right now, you're aware that you doom scrolling is slowly taking over your life and it's turning you into a mindless consumer. And ultimately, it's going to lead you to becoming a failure. And the problem isn't that you're doom scrolling, it's that you don't really have anything else going on in your life right now, other than maybe school, work, and the gym. And you're just scared of being bored. So by the end of this video, you'll have no excuse. So the first tip is to do a feeder workout. And this is a workout that you're going to do in your room. You don't have to go to the gym to do it, and it's for your arms. You're going to get some very lightweight dumbbells, and you're going to do 50 hammer curls reps non-stop, and then you're going to do 50 overhead tricep extensions, or you can do it laying on your back on the floor and do 50 skull crushers. And you're going to do 3 sets of that. It takes about 5 to maybe 7 minutes to do. Tip number 2 is to simply record yourself talking about whatever is on your mind. So this means you can just get your phone, put it on the front camera, and just record yourself talking. This doesn't mean you have to upload it to YouTube like how I do. It just means that you're recording yourself, you're getting used to speaking. Oftentimes, if you're anything like me, you can be sat in your room for hours on end and not actually speak to anyone in the day. So we need to be able to speak to ourselves. We need to be able to improve how we speak, and we need to be able to formulate what's in our head and create it verbally. This is how we're going to train to be more articulate. So even if you don't post it onto YouTube or social media, you still should get into the habit of recording yourself speaking. It's a skill that is going to become more and more and more important into the future. Tip number 3 is to simply go for a walk and to stack this with listening to a podcast. This is something that I have done now for the last 2-3 years consistently. Pretty much every day, been going for a walk. This is where I come up with the ideas for my videos. This is the opportunity, the time in the day where I can learn new skills from listening to podcasts, listening to other creators like me. And overall, it's just a very healthy thing to do. Obviously, it helps with cardio, helps burn fat. It's just a great way to clear your mind, and it's a great thing to do. And then tip number 4 related to this is go for a walk, but no music, no podcasts, silence. You just go for a walk and you allow your head to not be filled with content or music or have any kind of input into your brain. And it's a great opportunity to let natural ideas that are kind of being pushed down by listening to content in your brain to naturally bubble up to the surface. And this is often when I'm listening, when I'm on a walk and I don't have any music on or listening to a podcast, this is where I come up with my video ideas. It's often when I am on a walk and I haven't brought my headphones with me. Tip number 5 is to meditate. And this is going to help us upskill ourselves and teach our brain how to not necessarily be occupied with a thought, how to not necessarily think, how to just have an empty brain. And the app that I use to do this is called Medito. It's completely free. And there's a course on there that you can run through, or you can just meditate on a night. That's what I do. Tip number 6 is, if you're very bored, ask one of your boys if they want to go for a hike. This is something I did a few years ago now. Not really done it recently because I've been working, but ask your boys if they want to go for a hike. You should have a friend group surrounded around you that is similar to you on like self-improvement, and they don't necessarily want to be sat around playing video games. And one of those friends might be interested in fitness like you are and the gym. And the great thing you can do together is just go for a hike up the local moors or wherever you can go, and just get that exercise in it and go for a really long walk and go see some nature and stuff together. That's a super cool exercise that you can do with a friend. Tip number 7 is to get into drawing or art, sketching. It doesn't have to be great. You don't have to be good at it. It's just a way to practice low stakes flow state. So getting into flow state is a great way to occupy your mind. So me recording this video and scripting this video is me getting into a bit of a flow state, but this is work related. Now, what I'm suggesting here is you get into what's called low stakes flow state, where the quality of what you do in the flow state doesn't actually matter at all. You can just draw and no one ever has to see this drawing other than you. So it could be terrible, but it's something to focus your attention on. It's something to occupy your brain fully. Rather than doom scrolling, you can just take pen to paper and just draw whatever's on your mind. Even if you're not very good at drawing, even if you don't necessarily enjoy it, it's just an outlet. Tip number 8 is to learn a new language. This is something that I've recently started doing. Maybe 2 months ago I started, and I've been trying to learn Russian, which is maybe a weird language to start learning, right? But that's because a lot of the Eastern European countries speak Russian as well as the language that they speak. So it's a kind of a helpful language to know and to know the basics of if you want to go visit these countries like Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Ukraine, any of these kind of countries. If you know a little bit of Russian, you can get by, you can order food, stuff like that. So I have just kind of been dabbling in learning that language. And the main reason I've been doing this is because it actually trains you to self-learn. So the ability to go out there and upskill yourself and learn something is called autodidacticism, right? Which is an interesting term, but it basically just is your ability to go and learn things and to upskill yourself without anyone teaching you. So if you can go out there and self-learn a new language, that is a great way to teach yourself how to learn things, which when we go later on into this video, is going to become very important. Tip 9 is to read. So you could read books, you could read a blog. If you have a Kindle or hardback books, read them. I would recommend you read something like The Millionaire Fastlane. I've read that. 4-Hour Workweek. I've read that. But to be honest, for me personally, I don't actually really like reading the self-improvement books as much as a lot of self-improvement YouTubers do, and you can get a lot of knowledge from them. I find them quite boring to read, so I'd recommend reading something that you find a bit more interesting, maybe fictional. I really enjoyed reading Dune, the film, but obviously there's a book before it, so I have the Dune book and I've read that. But yeah, find a book that you could maybe try read. I'm not super into reading, I don't really enjoy it that much, but if it's something that you enjoy doing, then by all means, go and read. It's better than doom scrolling. And just to give you another tip with the reading, if you like reading blogs, if you like reading from your laptop screen, maybe whilst you're eating or something, there's a good blog called The Illimitable Man. That's a good blog. It has a lot of the self-improvement kind of ideas that we talk about on this channel and other self-improvement channels as well. Tip number 10 is to meal prep. If you find yourself bored, you could always just go and cook the meals that you're going to be eating throughout the week and kind of get ahead with that so that you don't have to spend the time making decisions and thinking about what foods to eat. You can just buy the chicken or the rice or the pork, I like pork, or steak or whatever in bulk, and you can just go and cook it all if you're very bored. Just go and get everything cooked, put it into Tupperwares, put them in the fridge, and then you've got your meals sorted for the next couple of days or whatever. Tip number 11 is to clean your room. This has been a get out of jail free card for me when I've been tempted to pick up my phone and re-download social media or scroll through YouTube shorts. One of the things that's helped me is to just clean my room, even if it's quite clean already. Maybe just change your bed sheets, go and put your clothes away, get the vacuum and actually vacuum your room, just clean it. Just be in a clean space. I often fall victim to this where I leave my room dirty and then I come to go do some work and then I'm kind of looking around and it's dirty and I'm like, it just doesn't get me in that work mood. It makes me feel dirty and just kind of like a loser, honestly. So this is a great thing that you can do, is just spend that time in your day rather than scrolling through your phone. Just make your space nice, right? We all want to work in somewhere that's clean, and I find it makes me more productive and just feel better in general in life if my space is just tidy. Tip number 12 is to listen to podcasts or watch informational, educational videos like this one or from other creators and actually make notes. So get a sheet of paper, and every time you find something that's interesting or jumps out at you, and not everything will, but when something, a specific piece of advice you find very motivating, inspiring, you just like that piece of advice, write it down. And writing, the actual act of writing the information down is going to massively reinforce how well you remember that information. It's going to make it more likely you actually act on that information and implement it in your life rather than just kind of knowing about it. Actually writing it down is going to make it far more likely that you take action on that advice. Leading on from that, tip 13 is to take those sheets of paper and all the notes that you gather when you're listening to a podcast or you're watching a video like this and sellotape them onto your wall, tape them onto your wall. And behind the camera now where I'm filming, I have a bunch of notes and bits of paper from podcasts. I've got one from the Mike Thurston, Chris Williamson podcast. I've got a couple notepads here from Hamza's full guides that he used to make with like pages and pages of me just writing down any bits of information that jumped out at me. And occasionally I'll look at these bits of paper and I'll just see an idea that I learned 2 years ago and I'd be like, oh shit, yeah, that was a really good point, and it'll help me in the present day. So it's like the past you is giving you notes and bits of advice for the future you, and it can be super helpful just to get you back on track whenever you feel like you're drifting off course. And that is step 14, is to look at your notes, right? Spend some time. If you're bored, you're tempted to go do some doom scrolling, just sit and look at the notes on your wall and see if there's anything that jumps out at you that can put you back on course. Okay, tip number 15 is to spend a small amount of time gathering images and wallpapers and nice HD images of places that you want to live. So for me, this is Thailand, Bali, Dubai, places like this, these cool locations, and gather them together and put them as a wallpaper for your laptop. And this is going to sound like a real waste of time, but trust me, it's way better than doom scrolling. And it just means every time you open up your laptop or your phone, if you put this as a wallpaper on your phone, you just get that little reminder of a nice image of a location that you want to live in. And it's, for me anyway, I find that quite motivating. It's kind of a little carrot on the stick that constantly just reminds me of kind of where I want to be living, the kind of environment that I want to be in, and it just motivates me to continue to make videos like this. Tip number 16 is to write. So people don't write anymore, and I was the same. Before this YouTube channel and just after school and before this YouTube channel, I basically went through a period of my life where I just didn't write. Why would I need to? And now that I've started scripting again and writing, it's really allowed me to take the ideas into my head and to compile them somewhere onto a piece of paper or onto the computer document that I've got open. And you kind of take your ideas like little Lego bricks, and it's like you're assembling a Lego model with like a house or something. And it just basically means you can put all your ideas onto a piece of paper and kind of just look at them and just see if they make sense, and you can read them back and see if they look good. So with this script for this video that I've got in front of me, I'm kind of looking constantly back at the camera and then the script, and it's like, now that it's all written down, it's so much easier to talk about and to refer back to. And it's just like these ideas that are in my brain don't have to free flow and kind of get jumbled up in my mouth. I can sort of see the structure of the video. And so writing things down has been super helpful. Now, if you don't have a YouTube channel, or if you don't have any reason that you need to be writing, you don't have any social media outlet, and we're going to get onto that later, then just write things in general. Maybe write a story, maybe write about yourself. How is your current life? What situation are you in? What happened in the day? This is called a diary or a journal, right? Simple shit like this, right? Just write stuff down and get used to writing. Get used to putting pen to paper and taking the thoughts that are in your head and extracting them from your head, either verbally when you're filming yourself or onto a piece of paper and writing. And just to add on to that, if you enjoy more creative writing, you don't necessarily want to write about yourself or anything in the real world, then write something fictional. I am a bit of a nerd, and I am quite into an online series called SCP. You've probably heard of it. It's a very autistic thing to be interested in, but I am interested in it, I'll be honest. And if you are into something like that, you could write an SCP. If you don't know what it is, just Google SCP, and maybe that is another outlet where you can take your ideas, your more creative ideas, and you can put them onto a document and you can write about those sorts of things. Tip number 17 is to create flashcards. So with me, with learning the new language, like I explained earlier on, I've created flashcards for that language. And when I'm writing down something in English on the front and then something in Russian on the back, I have used colored pens to make the flashcard look really nice. So I've put like the English flag and then the Russian flag on the back and stuff. And I've kind of colored in the words and underlined stuff and highlighted stuff. And that might seem like a waste of time, but actually coloring the flashcard in and making it look visually nice, because I'm quite a visual person. I like to make the cards look nice. They're written in nice handwriting and things like that. It makes me remember the words in that language so much better. And you don't have to apply this to a new language. You can apply this to anything. If there's anything in this video that has jumped out at you and has helped you, get a flashcard, get a small piece of card, a small piece of paper. Maybe you could get a big piece of paper and kind of cut it up into, sort of small flashcards. Then write it down on that flashcard and make that flashcard look nice. Maybe do a little doodle next to it, some drawings, put some color on there. And in doing so, making it look nice and being creative, it's going to be so much more likely to stick in your brain. Tip number 18 is to do some zone 2 steady state cardio. And this is the kind of cardio where you don't really get to do it, because going for a walk is kind of like zone 1 cardio. And sprinting on a treadmill is sort of like zone 3, zone 4 cardio. Zone 2 cardio is that level of cardio where you can still breathe through your nose. You might be breathing a little bit more heavily, but you can still hold a conversation whilst you're doing the cardio. And the thing I found that's best for this is either jumping on a bike at your gym and just kind of pedaling on a decent amount of resistance, or going on the Stairmaster, if you know what that is, where you kind of walk up those stairs, and the staircase is like a revolving staircase. Zone 2 cardio is a great way to distract yourself if you're tempted to go through your phone, if you're bored. Just go to the gym. You don't have to do a workout. It's a rest day. I can't go to the gym. It's a rest day. Go to the gym anyway and just go on the treadmill or the Stairmaster for 30, 40 minutes. And you can take your phone with you and watch a video like this whilst you're doing it, or a podcast, or whatever it may be. Okay, tip number 19 is to track your calories. This is a task in itself. It is quite a tedious thing to do, and you can often forget to do it. And you can use it as an opportunity to replace doom scrolling and going through social media. You can just track your calories. If you've missed a couple of days of tracking your calories, you can go back and track those days. I use MyFitnessPal and it has a streak on there, so it tells you how many days you have consistently been tracking your calories and what streak you're on. And now if I miss a day of tracking calories, that streak resets to 0. But if I go back and track the calories for the previous day that I missed, the streak goes back up again to like 10 or 11 or whatever it's on. And so that means you can actually spend time to go through and try and remember what you ate and go downstairs and find all the packaging of what you ate and stuff and scan the barcode. And you can keep the streak going, and that can be a task for you so that you can see that you're being consistent with tracking your calories. Okay, tip number 20 is to track your progressive overload at the gym. I'm presuming anyone watching this is consistently going to the gym and trying to build up their physique and trying to build some muscle. And a key part of that is to progressively overload. This is where you add more weight or more reps to each of the sets that you do, each workout, so that your muscle constantly has to build itself up to meet the demand that's being placed on it rather than just kind of leveling off and plateauing. And I use an app for this. It's called Strong. It's not free and I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but that's the app that I use. Maybe you use a different one. You can just type in progressive overload tracker or something like that and use this as a task. Go through that app that you've got that's progressively tracking your progressive overload per workout and look at some of the exercises on there. Is there any exercises that have plateaued? i.e. you were making good progress with them, you were constantly upping the weight on bench press, you were doing a few extra reps each set, each workout, and now it's kind of tapered off a bit and you've kind of plateaued. Look into the app and see if there's any exercises like that. And then the next time you go to work out, whether it's the same day or the next day, you can focus on those particular exercises and you can mentally say to yourself, oh yes, this exercise has plateaued on bench press, so I need to try and lift more this session or make an active choice to lift, do a few more reps so that I can get that progressive overload going back up again. Tip number 21 is to take your body measurements. This is a task that you can do regularly every week instead of scrolling through social media. So you can measure your waist, measure your arms, measure your neck, measure your legs. You can measure all these things and you can actually put them into your progressive overload app, and it's going to give you a rough idea of what your body fat percentage is, and it just helps you to see if you're actually building any muscle because you need to track if those muscles are building. When you're looking at yourself in the mirror every day, it's very hard to see any difference in the size, in how much muscle you put on. So when you actually take the measurements, you can see the difference, right? You can track the difference. Tip number 22 is try and do some vacuums. If you've never done these before, they're very difficult to do. I would just Google how to do a vacuum, not like how to clean your fucking floor or your carpet, right? I mean, sucking your intestines up into your rib cage, as horrible as that sounds, and squeezing your abs together, your core together, and to do a vacuum. This is something I've started doing recently. If I've got a bit of time to kill while something's cooking in the kitchen, I'll just bend over the counter like this and I'll try and do some vacuums, okay? And this is supposed to tighten your waist up and make it look a bit more aesthetic, and it's supposed to train your abs a little bit as well, and it's just like a thing that bodybuilders do. Maybe you could try do that. Tip number 23 is to simply sleep. Instead of doom scrolling and going through your phone, maybe just go to bed and just have a nap. I wouldn't recommend doing this if you've got work to do, but if you're very tired, just go have a nap, catch up on sleep. Remember, if you're watching this video, you're probably interested in building muscle like I am. And one of the things that is going to help you massively building muscle is sleep. So go to sleep. Tip number 24 is to go have a conversation, which sounds insane to have to say as a tip, but genuinely one of the best ways I've been able to stay off social media and stay from doom scrolling is to just go downstairs from my room and just talk to my parents, talk to my sister, just talk to your siblings, go have a chat. How has your day been? Are you all right? How's work been? What are we having for tea? Look at the weather outside. You can ask them anything. Just talk to your parents, talk to your siblings, and build up those relationships and be verbal. Just be present. Don't take your phone with you. You don't have to be on your phone all the time. You can just talk to people. You can ask them how they are. And that is a very simple tip. Just talk, have conversations. I'm having to say this because many people, and many of the people I know my age, don't do this. And yeah, the more you can do this, the better you're going to build those relationships up. And they are more important than anything that you're going to get from your phone. And lastly, tip number 25, this is the biggest tip, is to create a vehicle or an outlet for you to go from being a consumer, which you currently are, to a producer. So for me, this has been YouTube. And by far, it's been the best way I've been able to stop doom scrolling, because I can put all my time into recording these videos, scripting these videos, creating the thumbnail, trying to get better at talking on camera, trying to see how I can make better videos, looking into YouTube analytics. Okay, there was only a certain click-through rate on this thumbnail, but there was a better click-through rate on this thumbnail. Okay, maybe make more thumbnails like that. Having this creative outlet for me, regardless of how many views I get, regardless of how many subscribers I get, regardless of how much money it makes, it doesn't matter, because it's a way to keep me from doom scrolling. I don't need to doom scroll. I don't need to have social media, because I've got this YouTube channel. I've got an outlet. You need something to occupy your time and to stop you from being bored. And again, for me, this YouTube channel has by far been the best thing for that. And I think it's the main reason why I have been able to stay off social media for a year and a half, which is a feat that not many people my age are able to do. They just can't do it. And yeah, again, you need to find that vehicle for you. Find that thing, that outlet, that business that you can focus on. I made a bunch of videos recently on the channel that can help you to find that best business for you, whether it's YouTube, whether it's SMMA, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I've got videos that you can watch, go check them out, that will help you to find that creative outlet for you. And that's it. That's 25 things that you can do from today. That means you don't have to doom scroll. So you have no excuse now. There's no reason for you to be bored. There's no reason for you to be doom scrolling. There's no reason for you to have social media anymore, because if you've got to the end of this video, you clearly don't want to be doom scrolling anymore. So yeah, go and implement just 4, 5, 6 of these things. You don't have to do all 25. Just do something that is going to occupy your time and stop you from being bored. Everything I've said here is a healthier, more productive thing that you can do instead of doom scrolling. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you found it helpful, informative, inspiring, motivational in any way. If you did, please give it a like, leave me a comment with some feedback on how I can improve, because I'm always wanting to improve the videos that I put out on this channel. And again, thank you so much for watching, mate, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.